Just last year, I was still working a corporate desk job and I was not too happy with the trajectory of my life. It was not something that I wanted to do. I wanted to make a breakdown about why I left the 9 to 5 and then the 6-month window about how I actually did this, what each month looked like, to doing $10,000 on the side of my full-time job and quitting within 6 months of deciding I wanted out. I will say, it's not necessarily super easy to do this. I worked very hard, but it just goes to show you if you work very hard on something, you can get to where you want faster than the person who's only giving it a little bit of effort each day. First, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I left the 9 to 5 in the first place. If you can't read my handwriting, that's okay. I'm gonna read this out for you, but the very first bullet here I have written down is it kept me stuck. When I say it kept me stuck, I was in this endless loop of I needed my job because if I didn't have my job, I couldn't pay for all the things I had. I couldn't pay for my rent. I couldn't pay for my car. I couldn't pay for this or that. And the higher, the salary every single year that I got, the more that my expenses sort of kept up with that. So it's just this endless loop of constantly chasing the next job that paid more, or constantly getting the nicer place, the nicer car. And I just felt stuck. Like, what am I really working towards? Retirement when I'm 70? Like that's not what I want to do. I want to live life now. So the second reason I have here is you are not free, okay? A 9 to 5 job, if you're working a 9 to 5 job, whether you like it or not, you're not free if you don't have your time, right? And for a lot of people, they never are free. I do like to use this term, and I don't say it lightly, but I believe corporate jobs, a lot of these are really modern day slavery, right? Where you're showing up, you're punching your ticket, you're trading away your time for someone else's dream. And I have that written down here at the bottom, but it's entirely true, right? You're not free because you're trading your time away to make someone else money. Are you making money in return? Yeah, of course. And if you're watching this thinking, hey, I don't mind my job, I'm fine. This video is probably not for you. This is for people who want to leave the 9 to 5, who feel similar to me, but I never felt free when I was sitting in behind my desk. I hated it. I just hated the feeling. I wanted to take off. I didn't want to have to ask for PTO and get rejected. And then when I take it, come back and made me feel guilty for using it. It just never made any sense to me. Number 3 is it killed my ambition and creative energy. I don't know if anyone else feels the same way, but every single time that I showed up to work, I didn't really feel motivated. The only motivation I had to work hard was to not get fired, which is a weird driver, right? So for me, I never really had a place to express my creative energy because I was just told what to do and how to do it, and I did. Now, some people might say, well, you can be creative at your job, and to me, I just felt pressure where if I was creative and I said I could do this better and faster, someone would look at me and say, no, we're gonna do it my way, right? No, don't try that. We're gonna do it my way. And I never had much of an incentive to work that hard. Reason being, too, is sometimes the people who work the hardest get rewarded not with more pay, but with more work. And so I never really was able to express my creative energy, and I just felt my ambition leaving. I felt my soul leaving my body the longer I stayed. And I only worked there for 5 years, but I can't imagine if I stayed any longer, I'd be feeling very, very good right now because I was in a really bad place when I was at the end of my time at the 9 to 5 job. The next thing I have written down here is contrary to what a lot of people think, is there's not a lot of job security in a 9 to 5 job. A lot of people say, the reason I stay is because I like to secure income. You can get fired tomorrow, right? If you're not working for yourself, if you're working for someone else and they decide they can find a better, faster, cheaper way to do it, you can get fired. With AI coming into play, I don't know too many white-collar jobs that are that safe. If you are working a computer job, AI already can pretty much do anything on the computer that a person can do. So if you work one of those computer jobs, which most of mine were, I believe most of those will be replaced in the next 3 to 4 years, if not sooner. So for people who say, I like my job because I feel really secure and I would never get fired, and I highly encourage you to do some research and see if your job could be replaced, because most of them will. If I'm not lying here. That's just a fact. Is it scary? Yeah. Is it sad? Yeah. I don't know really what the world's going to look like, but this scared the crap out of me. The fact that I was just, one call away from not being able to pay my bills the next month. I hated that feeling. Another reason I have down here is that 9 to 5s have a ceiling. Your ceiling is usually capped. Unless you're in some sort of sales role, what's the incentive to work really hard? A raise that's going to give you another $20,000 or $30,000 a year? To me, there's little incentive to work really hard because I just saw my ceiling, right? And I always sometimes would look at my boss and I'd be like, would I trade lives with you? And a lot of the times I found myself saying no, and then I was like, why am I even here? So, and then I covered this last one down here, is I could not, for the love of me, stand to work for someone else's dream. It killed me. I know a lot of times we have to work our way to the top and all that, but for 3 of my jobs, my boss, like the boss of the company, actually 4 of my 5 jobs, the boss of the company did not even know my name. So I'm working to fund someone else's life that doesn't even know who I am. I'm just a number. And I hated that. So for these reasons, that is why I desperately wanted out of the 9 to 5. And so now we're going to talk about the value part of this video is my 6-month breakdown on why or how I did this and how you can possibly do the same, or at the very least, what to expect. Now, I will say this took me 6 months. This might take longer for someone else. It could be a shorter amount of time, depending on where you're at. Prior to this, this month one's actually going to be, we'll do January 2025. But prior to this, I want to talk briefly about a lot of my failures. I have another video where I talk about all of that in detail, but the hard part for me was really just focusing and honing in on one thing. I'd give a little bit of effort because I tried drop shipping, I tried Amazon, I tried FBA, making crossword puzzles. I tried a lot of stuff. I made a piano course. I tried to make it in the music industry for a very long time. And to be honest with you, it was hard because I was just giving a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here. And my energy was not really focused on one thing. It was go to work, go to the gym, come home and give a little bit of energy on that side thing. And then wonder why my life wasn't going anywhere. Well, to be honest with you, the reason was because I wasn't giving anything full 100% effort. And so come December of 2024, entering 2025 of last year, that's when I heard about TikTok Shop. And if you don't know what TikTok Shop is, I have other videos talking about that. But I was like, this is a golden opportunity. Like this beats drop shipping, this beats Amazon, this beats trying to make it music because it's just fast income, and I didn't see too many downsides to this. I was like, I'm going all in. And so this is when I came up with the decision. I actually decided to leave my job to get another job that will allow me to have 2 days work from home. And I actually took a pay cut for that job strictly just because I needed those work from home days to work on the side business. So this is all part of the plan. When I say number one is the decision for my 6-month breakdown, this is the things that I decided on, okay? Number one is the business model itself. Like I said, I decided on one business model, one thing to give my full focused effort on, which means I had to give up other things. I had to give up music, which is my passion. For 6 years, I chased music. I wanted to make it in the music world so bad, I couldn't see myself doing anything else with my life. But I was like, this is not buying me back my time. And what do I really want with my life? I want my time. I want my time because I am not free. And if I was free, I could do anything I wanted. So I said, you know what? I need a business model that's going to make me money fast. And so TikTok Shop is it. Once I decided on the business model, then I decided on a deadline. When do I want out of my job by? June. June was when I wanted out. So I had 6 months. Why June? I was actually going to move from Arizona to Colorado, and I had no choice. I was like, I'm going to move, so I have to get out by June. So I had a very strict deadline. I think deadlines, by the way, are very, very powerful. The shorter deadline you set, the harder you're going to work. And I had a very firm deadline. It was literally like June 12th was the day. I was like, I have to make it by this day. There's quite literally no other options. I have to do this. This is also when I decided that I went out and the corporate world was no longer for me. And this is when I actually started I'm going to write quiet quitting on here. I'll have another video where I break down how to quiet quit effectively in full detail. So I'm not going to cover that too much in this video, but this was when I decided I wanted out, which means I have to start quiet quitting. PSA, that does not mean just stop doing your job and get fired tomorrow. That just means you've decided you went out and you're no longer chasing a promotion. You're no longer chasing trying to get to that next level. You are okay with just doing the bare minimum at work so you don't get fired. So this was month one. Now, months 1, 2, and into month 3, I call it the grind period, okay? So this is also month 1, right? I can maybe write like months 1 through 3 here as well. January, February, and into March was called the grind period. And this was really hard because there's not a lot of results happening. If you've started a business or tried before, you know one of the hardest parts is simply that you're not gonna get a lot of wins fast because you gotta learn. You gotta learn, you gotta fail. You gotta fail forward though. When you fail, you learn something and reiterate, right? So when I tell people I failed in dropshipping, I failed in Amazon, I learned things in each one of those things that I pulled into this, okay? So this part might take you a little bit longer than me, but it's hard because maybe you're not seeing a lot of wins off the bat. You're working for free. You're not being handed a paycheck for your efforts. You're showing up because you have faith that this is gonna work. And a lot of people actually give up here. And if you can get past this part, you're gonna win, right? What happens in this grind period? Sometimes there's some judgment from other people, right? You're gonna have maybe your coworkers, maybe your friend circle, maybe people in your family, people that maybe haven't talked to you in a while. They're gonna see what you're doing, especially if you're doing content creation, and they're gonna maybe say, "You sure about that? I heard that doesn't work," right? I don't think that's the best thing you should be doing with your time. Well, what about this thing? This thing's actually better. Okay, if something looks good to you and is going to work for you, screw everyone else. Go full faith and go in. If you have to believe in you, right? You wouldn't trade lives with all of the people that are giving you judgment, so why listen to them? That's my mindset with it, at least. So I had this mentality that, hey, if you're gonna judge me, whatever, you get behind me then. Get with me or get behind me. I don't care, right? I'm gonna do this. I don't care what it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do this because I have to be out by June. I have to do it, all right? So for the judgment of others, just know, that's just part of life. And if you want to be in the 1%, sometimes you just got to ignore the 99%. And that is just a reality of this. It is one of the hardest parts that not many people talk about, but ignoring the criticism of other people and believing that you can actually do it is a real thing, not to be the, you can do it, believe in yourself guy, but it's true. You have to believe in yourself because who else will, right? If you don't have a support system around you, not saying I didn't, I've got a supportive family, but still none of my friends knew what TikTok Shop was. None of my family knew what TikTok Shop was. My boss and my coworkers certainly didn't know what TikTok Shop was. And to me, that I had the advantage. I know something that you don't. Haha, like you're going to watch me do it then. Sorry, right? So just because they don't understand doesn't mean they don't care about you or hate you a lot of times. It just means they don't understand, and that's okay. Don't prove them wrong, prove yourself right. Okay, uncertainty and minimal social life. This was a very big part of this month right here. And for a lot of you, if you are working a full-time job, you're gonna have to give something up. Okay, something's gotta give. You have to break the chain, right? The reason that you're stuck right now, if you're in a full-time job, is you gotta admit you got yourself stuck, whether it's your fault or not, you gotta take accountability. Accountability is massive, okay? So I had to cut down on habits that were keeping me stuck. Okay, going out on weekends, right? Even things I liked, like basketball, like music I just talked about. I had to just give that up for a little bit of time because I had to put that energy into something else that's gonna make me money. My thought process is, if I can just get my time back, then I could reestablish these things into my life a little bit later. But right now, like my goal is just getting out of my job. That's it. I don't care about anything else. So going out, yeah, is it hard on Friday and Saturday nights? Is there a little bit of FOMO? Yeah. But I promise you, if you're actually working hard on the thing that you know is going to get you your time back, that feeling is going to go away when you're working. That anxiety feeling, that anxious feeling, you're going to feel a lot of relief when you're actually working on the thing. So this period's really hard, months 1 through 3 down here where you're just grinding on your business and not seeing a lot of wins. That was really hard for me, especially since I failed on so many other business models prior to that. I just had to keep going. And so this is when I doubled down. So mid-March, I wrote month 3 through 4 here, is when I doubled down and actually bet on myself. This was the point where I said, I'm sick and tired of seeing other people win. I need to take some freaking bets. And so this is when I invested in a couple mentorships. The first one, the guy actually kind of ghosted me after like 2 weeks. And I was like, is this how a mentor is supposed to go? This is my very first one. I was $3K down. And then I spent another $3K. I actually pulled from my 401k to do this. It was a really scary decision for me, but I just knew I had to win. I was too far in to go back. So this is also when I said, you know what, I'm at my absolute lowest right now. I'm going to start documenting my journey because I don't have a lot of credibility to give to the world. I haven't really made anything besides music and made it very far aside from my amazing corporate job. So I was like, I'm going to document myself and just see what happens. So I started a page, Fisher Effect, on TikTok, if you've seen it, basically where I documented going from all the way from zero to where we're at now. Just to establish credibility and show people this is possible. And I also thought, if I can do it, then one day I can provide value to people like the video that you're watching now and help people actually get out, which is what I dedicate a lot of my time to now is coaching people and helping them get out of their corporate job through basically TikTok Shop and UGC, pretty much the same thing that I did. And so that's kind of why I started documenting, just to show people that it's possible and also to help hold myself accountable, right? When I say documenting, that basically is I was just posting videos on TikTok saying like, not hate my life. I'm not too happy with where I'm going. I don't really know what's going to come at this. I'm at a low, but you know what? Here we go. And that's exactly what we did. Now, here's the coolest part. I started using the maximum amount of my time. I wrote that here, where I cut out a ton of other stuff, like I mentioned down here, and I was just going hard. When I say maximizing my time, I'm saying lunch breaks. I was scripting TikTok videos, right? Lunch break, like during work, the last like 2 hours of the day when I didn't have much to do, I had my headphone in and I was just listening to sales videos. I'd fall asleep listening to Hormozy videos talking about sales. Like that is how freaking obsessed I was with this. When I say I was obsessed with it, I was obsessed. I was obsessed with this, and one of the reasons I bet on myself is because I felt a little lonely with all this stuff. Like no one else is doing this. I need someone to tell me what the hell I'm doing wrong. And so this was a pivotal point because this actually led to my first $100 day, which I actually had in April was my first $100 day. I'm gonna write down here because it was very important. On this $100 day, I pretty much told the world on my page, I said, if I could do $100 a day, every single day for 30 days straight, I'm gonna quit my job. And that was set in April. And then this is May. I'll write May here so you guys know kind of where we're at in the timeline. This was my breakthrough month. I started really just not focusing too much on how much I was making, just more so just my inputs. Like, am I showing up every single day? If I am, what am I making for the day? And I just started writing it all on a whiteboard. I actually ended up doing a $10,000 month that month on the side of my job. So with my job out, it was more like $16,000 that month with my full-time job and this. So this month I made double what I've made at my job. And when I say it was the best feeling in the world, all that work that I put in, you know, the work that no one sees, no one actually followed my page. My TikTok account that I was documenting actually blew up to like 10,000 followers from zero, or there was like maybe 200 people following, but no one really cared until I did the damn thing, which is understandable, right? I mean, no, why should people care or listen until you're credible? And I totally get it. So, but it just goes to show you, right? Like that work that you have to do right now, it's the hardest part because no one's really watching, no one's really paying attention, and all the pressure is kind of on you to show up and do the work. But if you can do it, that breakthrough month is going to come. You know, whether it comes in 5 months like it did for me, this was actually more like a year and a half when you think about it, for all the other things that I tried, right? I was doing the band for a long time, and then, you know, the piano course and the Amazon and the drop shipping. So this was actually a longer time, but this is 5 months of pure focused energy on just one thing, TikTok shop, right? It was just one thing. But when I say it's the best feeling in the world, I mean, I was making more money you know, on the side by like noon than I would make at my job all week. I was doing $700, $800 days. I'd wake up and I'd already be at $300, $400. It was like absolutely wonderful. And if you're watching this, by the way, you're like, what does this guy do? I have a full video. I'll tag it in the description of a breakdown of my business model and how I actually did this in even more detail. Anything to help you guys out is what I want to do, because like I said, my goal is obviously to help you get out of your job. That's why I make the content I make, right? So, but this feeling, it was unbelievable. It just felt like finally, like the light at the end of the tunnel, I could see it. And once I hit that 3K number, I pretty much made a post that said, I'm walking right now and quitting my job. And this was June. I walked in and I said, I quit. In the video, if you go watch it on my TikTok, it's pinned on my page. I said, is it scary? Am I a little bit scared? I was like, yeah, you know, but also no, because I worked very hard on building a skill, not just having one breakout month, right? I've been consistent with 5-figure months every single month since May of 2025. I think there's 1 month I was under the 10K month, but besides that, every month's been a 5-figure month. And so was it scary? Yeah, but I had to be confident. I had to walk in and say, you know what, this is the right thing. And they even asked me, they said, are you sure? Are you sure? What if we let you, you know, do part-time and whatever, we like you. And I was like, thank you. Great company, by the way. I appreciate the offer, but I was like, what I have to do is right for me right now. This is what I have to do. So by August, because I quit in June, July, August, I actually scaled to my first $20,000 month being self-employed, which gave me more confidence to just keep going all the way till, you know, where we're at now, which is wild. So I wanted to make this video just to help you out and so you can visualize the timeline of what this takes, because 6 months in the grand scheme of things is not a lot of time. It's really not a lot of time, right? If you can work really hard for just like 180 days, you would be so shocked at how fast you could accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. It's just most people can't focus. Now, this is my 6-month journey, and I promise you, I don't care who you are, what your situation is, maybe it might take a little bit longer, but you can do this. It's really just a matter of how much of your attention can you give to one thing for a period of time. 6 months is how long it took me to do that. Now, if you're looking for someone to hold you accountable, you're looking for help with TikTok shop, that's exactly how I did this. I do coach on this. That link will be in the description. If not, it's not your thing, totally fine. Use this and apply it to whatever business that you want to do, okay? This works for anything. If you're doing AI, if you're doing maybe a landscaping company, whatever. The more effort and energy that you give it and pure focus and almost obsess over it, the faster it will happen. Now, my name's Danny, and if this video is helpful, I'd appreciate it if you drop a like, a comment, let me know where you're at in your journey, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. This year, my goal is to help as many people have this feeling as possible. So thank you so much for watching.